Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. This is Venus from Venus Rising Tarot. I'm so excited to be back doing this reading for you guys. So today we have a pick a card where we'll be going over your three big blessings coming to you in the next year. So this is a timeless reading, so the year sort of starts from whatever period that you watch this in. Three piles for you to choose from. Basically, how this reading is going to go is I'm going to first pull from like my houses bowl. So I've written down like all of the houses with some signifiers for what, like the key theme is. So we'll pull some themes for you. These could be three different themes. These could just sort of like give a message for something big to look out for in the next 12 months from whenever you're watching this. Then we'll go into your tarot. So, and pull your tarot cards to look at what those three individual, like that's what the intention is, but they could be related and it could just be talking about different aspects of the same thing. So, what the three individual blessings are for that's coming up in the next year. And then pull is the my from my little zodiac bowl what significant time periods or zodiac seasons, because in a year period all 12 of them will happen. So it's just figuring out which one will be significant, which ones to look out for. It could be a time period. It could just be like these seasons seem to be when things could be happening for you. So yeah. Um, and that's pretty much our reading. So I'm doing the reading here. I won't be not the reading, the overview here. I won't be doing it in each pile. But without further ado, it's time to pick your pile. So remember, I always recommend picking with your intuition and your mind's eye, not your physical eye, to get the messages that are most applicable to you. And if, they're aren't any messages for you, then this may not be your reading, or if you feel that things don't resonate, then this may not be your reading. Or I'd invite you to pick another pile and see if anything resonates for you there. But yeah, without further ado, I will go bring the stones up close. So we've got the Sunstone for pile number one. We've got this gorgeous decorated black stone for pile number two. And the red jasper for pile number three. So feel free to pause the video and take however long you need. And with that, I will see you in your piles. Bye. See you soon. Hi, pile one. So your reading looks a bit different to the other piles. And I have to be honest with you, I've already done it. And then I accidentally deleted the file. So I've lost half of your reading. So this is take two. Um, I've already pulled your cards. I was really into what I was saying. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to remember it to the degree that I did, but we'll see how it goes. I'm really sorry about that, but I will get started and see what comes. So it's probably like there are new messages that were meant to come. Um, and we'll just go with that. So you picked the Sunstone. So how this reading works is I picked out your three sort of theme with your houses. So you've got number six, the sixth house for routines, the second house with values, and the seventh house with contracts. So all of this is really making me feel like a new career opportunity is coming for you and something that's going to like switch up your routines. Um, yeah, let's get into it. It's so hard to pretend that I don't know what's happening because I've done this reading. But yeah, you've got the Ten of Cups in the upright and the Ace of Pentacles in reverse. the Queen of Pentacles, which came out initially, and then I pulled the King of Wands in reverse to clarify it. And then the Nine of Swords, and then the Three of Pentacles in reverse. So I'm actually going to start here, which, and last time, but we'll go with it. So with the Nine of Swords and the Three of Pentacles, like I think all of this has to do with different aspects of the same thing, to be quite honest. But with the Nine of Swords and the Three of Pentacles, it really feels like and the Nine of Swords is all about turmoil and anguish. And to some extent grieve. With the Three of Pentacles being in reverse, and the Three of Pentacles to me symbolizes like community and building together. Like a truth is being revealed to you about a community that you were either a part of or are currently a part of. That you recognize that there's some sort of like fundamental misalignment with that. And it could be a group of friends, it could be coworkers, for example. It could be like school environments. So it feels like a truth is being revealed, but also sort of like a situation from your past that had to do with groups. Like you're getting over these feelings of anger and turmoil and grief. Like I think we've all been there where we think like we've fully processed something and then something else happens and then we're like, ooh, I'm still a little bit like triggered by that. And what does, that mean for me, in essence? And I think for that, it really is like about like you're finally going to be realize that you've overcome whatever the situation is. It could have been bullying. Like I'm thinking about there was this TikTok that I was watching where this girl was talking about how she had gone to a restaurant in her local area, and was sat next to these other group of girls who had all been bridesmaids in the same wedding. And they were just there, like, shit talking the bride, the dress, the cake, the venue, everything about this wedding. And, like, rightfully, like, when you're in someone's wedding, like, you assume a certain level of closeness. Um, but obviously, like, these girls were maybe frenemies or something like that, but, like, they clearly weren't good friends. And so this person came on TikTok and talked about it and said, look, if these is what they girls, then I think you should get some new friends. So something like that could be happening where truth is being revealed that like sort of highlights the misalignment between you and a group that you thought you were supposed to be in. It could also be that you're, sort of resolving something from a past situation. I know I've been in that situation many times before where I think, okay, like, you know what? Like, I'm done. Like, I had, for example, friends when I was in university that would take advantage of my generosity. Um, because I like had a car or whatever, and they sort of kind of constantly like expected rides from me. And I was happy to do it initially, but then I was like, you know what? Like, doing this is out of the way, and it makes my journey home a lot longer, and it's essentially free for you guys, and it's not like anybody sort of offered, to like chip in for gas or anything or like small tokens. Not that I was expecting it, but after a while became quite tedious for me, and then realizing, okay, like, and then some other things happened which I won't get into. I don't want to make this too personal, but some other things happened where I was like, oh, you know what, like these people don't actually have my best interest in mind, and that's sort of not at the forefront of what they're thinking and what they're considering. So, going through that. And then I was in a situations before where like afterwards where I had, new friendships, and then I was recognizing some off-putting behavior, and then my immediate reaction was to like put it down completely. And then you sort of like realize that sometimes like your reactions aren't proportionate to the things that are happening, and you just have to be honest with yourself like, okay, like where is this coming from? I'm being like, oh, okay, cool, like what happened, there's no excusing it, like feelings are valid, and that wasn't appropriate, but also sort of like the reaction is coming from a place of dealing with some unresolved stuff and not fully being over and seeing past situations. So just being honest about that, really. Um, so yeah, that's really what I'm seeing. So this feels more like a blessing in disguise, where like either some information is going to come to you, or you're going to realize that some slight that you would experience, whether that be bullying or something, and it could be that you run into those same people and you don't react to them in the same way. So it's not to say like you're not interested in beating them, outsmarting them, showing them that you're better than them. And I have this thing, right? Like where if a TV show I love is ending, I know that ahead of time and it doesn't get canceled, like if they announce that, it's their last season, then in denial, like I will wait to watch the last season. So I did that with Ted Lasso this year. So I just watched the final season. And I'm thinking like back to like Rebecca had like a really good character art where like she has her ex-husband in the first couple seasons she's very convinced like focused on beating him. And then in the third season she's just sort of like, you know what, seeing the blessing for getting him out of her life. However, crappy that situation was, but seeing it as a blessing and being able to like be like, you know what, we both own football clubs. But I'm not interested in beating you, right? I'm interested in winning for me and my team, and that's kind of what the energy feels like. Like if it's something being revealed to you, then I do feel like I'm not going to sugarcoat this, that it will be quite painful and it will be a grieving process for you, but it is going to be a blessing in disguise because you're going to recognize, okay, how out of alignment with like the values, you were with this group and how you need to be better positioned and in a better community. But then for those of you who are something in the past, it's that culmination of saying, okay, like I know where I stand now and it's not with you. And that's actually quite beautiful. So we are gonna go here. So you've got the 10 of Cups. Oh, and the Ace of Pentacles. So a lot of your cards like flew out together. Um, which, there is a sense of urgency. So I think a lot of these blessings will come in a little bit sooner than the year mark. So you won't have to be waiting the full year. We'll see like which seasons sort of come up when we wrap up this part of the reading. But what I was getting, especially with the whole like pulling, I had such a good speech, guys. Um, I don't remember it verbatim, but this was such a good speech. But with the Ten of Cups and the Ace of Pentacles in reverse, it feels like, again, there are two groups. So for those of you, it is about, closing the door on something. So with the Ace of Pentacles in reverse, it really does feel like you are closing the door on something to do with like your career. So quite simply and quite aligned with the message I got when I pulled those three things was that you're closing the door on like a career. So that could be like you get a new job offer and you're literally closing the door on what you were doing before and saying, you know what, peace, like I'm gonna do something else. Um, and this new job offer feels very much fulfilled and aligned with what you have to do or what you have going on, in all honesty. So that's very much what it feels like you're moving into a more emotionally fulfilling space. So you're walking away from something and saying like, hey, I am like this chapter is closed for me. I'm walking into something that's more aligned, something that brings me deep emotional fulfillment. It could be something like a career that you've always wanted to go into or a company that you've always wanted to work for, something like that. For others of you who may not necessarily be walking away from something, it really does feel like you are starting something that does bring this emotional fulfillment and this wholeness and alignment between your physical and your like your inner world and your outer world. So with the Ace of Pentacles in reverse, it's sort of like walking away from these past whatchamacallit, like these past ideologies. So it could be that you never saw yourself going into a certain career. So it could be like when you're in school, you learned about law and you're like, oh, you know what, like that's too structured, too not for me. And then you do something else. Maybe you go into a more creative industry. And then realize like how much legal knowledge you need to know to run like your own company and like all of that stuff. And then you actually surprise yourself by recognizing, okay, like I actually do like this. With the Ace of Pentacles in reverse, it doesn't feel as structured. It feels like you kind of stumble into it. And it kind of becomes like a happy coincidence. So it could be like you say, oh, you know what, I don't really like, like I never really thought I would be into like law stuff. And then you get more and more into it, and maybe you decide to take a course, or you get enough experience in doing like you gain another skill. Ooh, you gain another skill by pursuing like a new hobby or new passion that you didn't see coming. Oh, okay. So yeah, that's really what the Ace of Pentacle in reverse is. Like it's sort of like a hidden opportunity. For some of you, it literally means walking away from something. So it's like a hidden opportunity and something that you didn't expect for yourself and you didn't see, which is really cool. And then it could be that you go down this path of like you've gained the skill from doing like copyright law or intellectual property law from running your own business. You get really into it, and then you're like, oh, you know what, my niche is going to be supporting other small businesses and other creatives with this skill set, because I now know how to do it on both sides, because I've like, done my whole creative thing, and now I have this like very honed in skill set. So something like that, or it could be for some of you that you decide to choose the other thing more full time, right? Like you leave like a more creative thing to go into something more structured because you didn't realize how much joy and fulfillment it would bring to you. And to be honest, some of that joy and fulfillment could come from like the material abundance that's available to you by pursuing this new thing. We gotta be real. like, like we live in a society that we need a lot of money to do a lot of things, but you're finding a way to make it work for you, which I really love. Um, for others of you, on sort of closing the door to this past mindset and past ideology, is again about like, or you're finding out something that you may have previously said no to, and cut out for yourself, either because you thought you wouldn't be interested in it or because other people told you that you couldn't do it. So for example, like my mom really loved like computers and technology. And then my aunt and uncle were accountants. And they were all pushing her to follow into like that kind of field, to the point where some very shady things happened. Um, and, like, she pursued other things and then came back to it when she moved abroad for school, and was doing something else, and then decided, you know what, like, I don't like this, and then went back to school to do the thing that she always wanted to do, and then found out many years later that, like, she was actually blocked from doing it. And I think that was, well, I was there, but I was younger, but like now I can fully appreciate the pain of being sort of wanting to do something, being blocked from it, not knowing what the blockage is, because like actual things were going on behind the scenes. So it could be coming back to something like that. Um, so something from your past, something hidden, or walking away from an opportunity to become more aligned. So that's your sort of like second big blessing, which I hope you're excited to hear. Um, I really hope I pick this file because it's good. I like your messages. And then with the Queen of Pentacles, this one is about, or I feel very strongly like a divine feminine figure coming in to your life. So with that, um, like again, like it's not about their gender, but the energy where they teach you more importantly about that inner and outer world harmony. So really getting aligned with your value system, really getting aligned with your purpose and be more emotionally driven. That's what this person's really going to help you unlock. I got the imagery of the beach. So it could be that you meet this person when you're at a beach or like near the water. Um, but that feels very, very specific. So it won't be for all of you, especially if you don't live near a beach, then you're gonna be like, Venus, am I never gonna meet this person? But what it also sort of like symbolizes for me is that this person, especially with the King of Wands in reverse, is going to come when you get out of your daily routines and habits, and put yourself in a new environment, one where you can slow down. Because when I think of the King of Wands, it's obviously like in the divine, like masculine, like doing energy, very passionate, very go-getter, very fiery. But what the Queen of Pentacles with the so I feel like, let me rewind. So I pulled this to clarify, when will you meet this person? And basically what this is saying is like when you slow down and when you get out of like your everyday routine. So that could be for going on a spontaneous trip somewhere. Um, so for me, like I live in the city and I don't really leave. There are parts in the city where I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so far. Like we're not even in the city anymore. And then I had a friend from university like visit, and then we took an unexpected like day trip to the south of the country, and it was like really nice beach. And I said, say like, oh yeah, like there's more of this country and I actually really like it and I should actually get out more, to be very honest. And that's pretty much like what this is calling you to do as well, is to get out of that, routine and get into the like whole thing of just trying something new, something that can slow you down, something, that brings more presence. And that's sort of where you're going to meet this person. And what they're really going to help you with is about aligning like what you do for the world with what you do for yourself. And this will be like a kind of like a hidden mentor opportunity. For some of you, it could be more direct, where you actually set up that more formal mentorship relationship and maybe like, oh, like, would you like to be my mentor? Or it could be something more subconscious where you say, hey, I really like the wisdom that you bring. I'm just gonna, use you as my mentor type of thing. So I feel like that's it for some of you. And this kind of person, I remember I said this, and I really do want to make sure that you hear this. It's the kind of person that will challenge like your perceptions of what does it mean to have it all, and what does it mean to be in alignment, and what does it mean to be at one with everything. So like I had this aunt, and the first time I met her, she asked me this really beautiful question about how was my heart, and I've never been asked that before, never in my life, and now it's like my favorite question to ask. So it feels like somebody is coming to you to give you that type of a gift. So yeah, these are your three big blessings. So let's see, coming up here in the next year. So let's see what zodiac seasons are coming up. Like which ones will be the most important? We'll do three. Planning on taking two, but we'll see. So you've got Aquarius season. You'll just have to believe me on that one. We've got Virgo season. Oh, so double sixth house. Like, especially with the sixth house coming out, like Virgo season is going to be big. And remember, this is a timeless reading. So if you find this video during Virgo season, then you're in a really big, significant time period for yourself. Or if it's coming up, especially with the two sixes, Virgo season's one to watch out for. And Cancer. Okay. So what and there's kind of two sevens because seventh house, seventh month is July. Cancer season happens in July. So what I would say is like the period from Cancer to Virgo season could be very significant for you. And then also Aquarius season. But it doesn't necessarily feel like Aquarius to Virgo because that's too long of a time. But with the six and the sevens, I really do feel like it's the period between Cancer and Virgo season. You can kind of see it. Work with me, please. There we go. Cancer and Virgo season will be very significant for you guys. Um, so yeah, I really thank you so much for letting me read for you. I really hope that these messages resonated. Please don't feel, don't be shy. Like comment down below. Let me know what messages aligned and how things happen for you. I'd be so excited to hear that. And with that, I wish you a beautiful rest of your day or night. And I hope to see you next time. Bye. Hi, group number two. Welcome to your reading. So, today we're going to be going over what three big blessings are coming to you in the next year. You have this beautifully decorated black stone. And as I said in the intro, I lost the sheets to these a long time ago. And this is not a stone I was familiar with before. So, I don't really remember. Um, but yeah, if you want a full breakdown on how we're going to be going about today's reading, then that's in the intro. But I'm going to get started with your three. So, what are the three big blessings? One, two, okay. Uh, it's so funny because when I was doing your group, I was like, it's going to be the green pile. So, we've got contracts. You actually got four. Um, We've got 11th house with friends. And I close my eyes when I like pick it, so I'm not actually looking. Second house, your money. Well, it says money, bracket yours. And sixth house. Achoo. Health. So immediately, quite literally, with the sixth house and the seventh house contract, it feels like you might be signing up for a gym membership or a fitness sort of plan. Hold on, I'm just gonna drink some tea because my throat is dry. So it really does feel like you're signing up for a fitness plan. Quite literally something that you can do with friends, like group. Um, it really feels initially the vibe I'm getting is that you're going to be investing in yourself and in your community with friends in a new way. It's so interesting. So now I'm going to pull. I made the mistake of putting the tarot cards too close to the camera. So now we're gonna pull a blessing. So Spirit, what is one blessing that's gonna come to pile number two? Or what is in the second blessing that's gonna come to pile number two in the next year? Or what is a third blessing that is going to come? Okay. So just a little bit, because I do pay attention to how the cards shuffle. Like they didn't fall out, they were quite sort of structured. Which feels weird to say about cards, but they would flip over as I was shuffling and just sort of pop out to be like, it's me. So I feel like these are going to be very defined opportunities that come to you. It doesn't really feel like something that you're gonna have to seek out. But it does, because they weren't sort of fully jumping out, it does feel like you're going to have to put in some work to get them, which is why you're here, to find out sort of like what are the things that are coming up and that you're going to need to do in order to be able to pursue this. So we've got the Eight of Pentacles. And I was saying this in the last group, like it's so hard for me to know when these are reversed, specifically the eights. You've got the Two of Pentacles in reverse. I think this might be upright. We're gonna go with that. Two of Pentacles in reverse, and you've got a lot. We've got three major arcana in the reverse. Holy guacamole. um, I don't even say that, guys. It's from a meme. The actual meme was more inappropriate, but I'm not trying to get banned. So you've got the Justice in the reverse, the World, and with the 11 friends, 11th house, this like synchronicities. I love to see it. And with the 2-2, second house, major theme. All right, and the Tower in reverse. Okay, just give me a moment to just sort of get a feel for what this is. I want to pull some clarifiers actually. Give me more information about the. Okay. Didn't even finish my question. Two Pentacles. Okay, so now your cards are full. Alrighty, let's get into it. So, my dears, so we've got the 10 of Wands in reverse and the Ace of Wands in reverse. And then the Two of Wands clarifying the Two of Pentacles. So the Eight of Pentacles, what I'm getting is that you're building something. Uh, with the Ten of Wands in reverse, it really does feel like you're going back to a project that you didn't finish for whatever reason. Like it feels like a rising from the ashes. Also with the Ace of Wands in reverse, if I'm being completely honest. Um, so it really does feel like you're revisiting something. So it could be like me, like you started a tarot channel years ago and you're going back to doing it. Or it could be a project that you started and you didn't complete, or you mainly just forgot about. So it really does feel like you're building something, and this has the opportunity to boost your earned income, because the second house is about like earned income. And so like kind of streams of employment or streams of income. That's what I wanted to say. So this is really what I'm feeling for the Eight of Pentacles and the Ace of Wands. It really just feels like a rebirth that's happening here. but it's something like a project that maybe you did start. Some of you, it might have been an idea, like you were toying around. So, for example, let's say you do hair on the side, or you've always wanted to, and like you've done your own hair, and you're like, oh, like maybe I should, start a business like coloring wigs or installing wigs or, you know, doing makeup, because it's something that's a passion for yours. And you're like, oh, that's a good idea. But when am I ever going to find the time to do that? So now it's about you finding the time and investing in yourself and also in your opportunity. And aces signify like new beginnings, but it doesn't feel with the Ace of Wands being in reverse that it's a closing of that new beginning. It really just does feel like you are being called to revisit something that you were doing in the past. I'll see if more like comes as we get into it, but that's what I'm seeing that your big blessing is um for your first one, and that it does have this strong potential, especially with the Eight of Pentacles, to bring you a lot of material abundance. I don't necessarily get the feeling that it'll, happen in the next year. Like you'll go from maybe driving like a beat up car to like a very fancy one, but you'll definitely start to see the seeds of saying like, oh, this is actually very viable for me. Um, it could be that you go on to pursue this full time, or you just want to set it up as like an additional sort of income stream. So that's what I really feel for these these cards here. Let's take a look at your second blessing. You've got the two twos. So the three twos, and they're all underneath the two. So it's 2, 2, 2. So you got the Two of Pentacles in reverse and the Two of Wands in reverse. I think what I'm getting intuitively is that this has to do with a partnership. And the reason it's in reverse is because it's not going to come, like the full potential of this partnership won't be realized within the full 12 months. So what I am getting is that it might be towards like the next the latter half of this time period, where it could be for some of you that you just meet them towards the end of it, or it could be that you've met them and you're starting to get to know each other, and but you're not going to see the full potential of what this partnership has to bring to your life within the full 12 months, and that's why they're in the reverse. For some of you, I'm getting a lot of like business partnership vibe. For some of you, this could be romantic. For some of you, it could be a friend, especially with the 11 house of friends. So it could be like making a new friend and not really realizing like how, in sync you are and how much you guys vibe, until like maybe 13 or 14 months, because it was on my list this year, or my resolution list to like make a new friend. And there are some friends that I made, and I decided it's like, okay, like I had known them because were friends, we had mutual friends, and then we ran into each other at like events, and then it was like, okay, like let's actually try and do this. And it took about like 6, 7 months for that whole process to happen. So it feels like you guys could be on a journey. So I'd say primarily for the majority of you, this will either be a new friend coming in or a business partner. And then for a small minority of you, this has to do with romantic potential, especially with the seventh house contract. Actually, I'll split it in thirds. For the seventh house contract, it does feel like there's a potential that it could be talking about more, not like a literal contract, like you won't have to sign on the dotted line or anything like that, but more so to do with the fact like, okay, like we're entering into this agreement to love and support each other. So with the Two of Wands here, and in the traditional Rider Waite, it's this person with the two wands looking ahead into the horizon. There's a lot of long-term potential with this connection, whether it be a friend or a business or romantic partner. Coming in with the Two of Pentacles, really around, it really does feel like you're going to be building something with this person. You could, oh, I'm so curious now. I'm gonna see if I'll see if like spirit will tell me where you might meet this person. Seven of Cups. So that's a no. They're not going to be specific. There are a lot of options. So for some of you, it could be doing an activity, you could be running into them, you could be at a conference, also sort of saying like you're at an event and you see someone and you're like, ah, you look really cool, like I want to be your friend, and then actually like making the effort to be their friend. And that makes a lot of sense for how your cards came out. Like, this doesn't feel like these opportunities are going to be thrust upon you. Like, you'll definitely, like, especially for the first blessing, like it's something that you've likely already thought of, or that divine inspiration is coming, especially with the Ace of Wands in reverse. So it's something that you've either thought of previously, and then you have to go and take action, right? With the two of, with this new partnership opportunity coming in, like their spirit is going to put you and your guides are going to put you in the environment, right? But then it's going to be up to you to initiate that. Like, it doesn't necessarily feel like this person is just going to come up to you and be like, oh, do you want to be my best friend, or do you want to marry me right now? It doesn't feel like that. It feels like there's going to be some work that comes in on your end in order to realize this potential. And obviously, like all good relationships, it will be balanced and it will be reciprocated, but it doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like you're going to be driving it fully or the other person's going to be driving it fully. Like, you both have to sort of put in the work. And why it's in the reverse is to remind you of that and saying, like, if you see someone, make a friend. And with the Seven of Cups, got repeating sevens, you would just really have a lot of options for how this person will come into your life. So I'm not going to get into all of them because there will be a lot. But I just wanted to see if Spirit would let us know, and Spirit said no. So I'm just going to have to respect that. And then for the big boy, holy cow, three major arcana all in the reverse. You've got the World in the reverse, the Tower in the reverse, and the Justice in the reverse. Okay, so I want to pull a clarifier. It's like, why would you need one? They have three. Because I want to be sure what I'm thinking of or what I'm feeling makes sense. So can you clarify this for me, Spirit? And you pick less cards to clarify for me, Spirit. Okay, so we've got Six of Wands. And so we've got the Six of Wands, the Five of Wands, and the Three of Swords. It feels like something was taken away from you unexpectedly, and it ended like a chapter of some sort. So I think I'm getting a very specific message. So I'm trying to figure out how to make it more broadly applicable, because I don't want to scare anybody with that message. But it does feel like something was taken away from you, whether that be a connection, not just romantic, sometimes like we lose family members, not necessarily because anything bad happened, but the relationship changes. And that rocks you. But with the Six of Wands here, um, it does sort of feel, well, the Five of Wands, like it does feel like, that caused some pain and some anguish. And, that's not very easy. The Three of Swords, like in the traditional Rider Waite, like that's the three swords in the heart. So definitely symbolizing that heartbreak. Um, and the Five of Wands is definitely like that defeat, that fighting sort of energy. But how I'm seeing this as a blessing is because it's just opened up something space for something new. What I'm getting, and I know this is not going to be like a satisfactory answer for some, is just that in the losing of something, no matter how much we wanted it, right? Like I've been in this situation many times over where there's certain relationships that I, I really wanted them to stay. I really wanted them to last. Like I thought they would stay. I thought they would last. And then they didn't. And what Spirit is saying is that the real like blessing here is that it's given you the space in your life. And like I always hate it when people say that. So I hate that I'm being the one to like propagate that, but it's really just saying like there's now space in your life for something else, right? Like something very big um to come in because that thing ended. Because what I'm hearing from Spirit, especially with the world, is that your focus is no longer on this situation anymore. Like you've gone through this like grieving process. You sort of like you're in this process of moving on from the situation. And in that, it's really, and that's sort of like what the Six of Wands is like that like forward looking, that charge is that you in having this taken away from you, and it does feel like something that was taken from you, unfortunately. Um, is that because you're no longer focused, your energy is not on the situation as it used to be, that there is that room for something else. And that's what your Spirit is saying. That's the blessing. They're not being quite prescriptive with what it is. With healthcare, we haven't really had like a lot of like messages, you know, directly on health. So it could be because like, if it's a relationship and let's be real, they take a lot of time. They take a lot of time and energy. Um, but with like the relationship, then you actually have more time to dedicate towards your health and all of these endeavors, and like building up your community and your friendship. But it feels like because something was taken away from you, you now have the opportunity and the space to pursue something else. And they're leaving it quite open-ended. They're like, we took this away from you because there's something coming. This one feels like a divine opportunity. It doesn't, but like it's still one where you're going to have to say yes. And that's kind of like the theme of everything that's coming to you. Is like we're going to put you in these situations to receive these blessings, but at the end of the day, you still have to say yes. Um, so yeah, those are your three big blessings. So we've got like revisiting an idea that can bring you, has this strong potential to bring you material abundance, this partnership that's coming, and this space for the unknown and the space to sort of be surprised. So look at what are significant season or time frame in the next 12 months. So, oh, That was way more. Your call's just been getting way more. I keep my eyes closed when I do it, but you can't see me. So we've got Leo season, Virgo season, so double sixth house, Capricorn, and Aquarius. So you've got two time frames. So the window between Leo and Virgo, so that's late July to late September, mid to late September. So that like 2-ish month period. Just about. No, exactly. July, August, yeah, the 2 month period. So between Leo and Virgo season and the period between Capricorn and Aquarius season will be significant for you guys. Um, and yeah, like especially with like the 11th house of friends and Aquarius coming up, friends seems to be very big, and also something around your health because you've got the double sixes. But yeah, those are all the messages I have for you, my lovelies. Thank you so much for letting me read for you. Please let me know how this resonates. I'd be very excited to know what comes up for you in your next 12 months. I wish you a good rest of your day whenever you're watching, and a good year. Thanks. Bye. Hi, group threes. Welcome to your reading. So, today we're going to be looking at what three big blessings are coming to you in the next 12 months from whenever you're watching this. This is a timeless reading. If you want a full breakdown for how we get into and for what we're going to be covering, then that's in the intro. So, I suggest you go look there. But if you pick this and you pick this gorgeous red jasper, ever I try and get the camera to focus, I feel like a beauty influencer. Okay, it's not happening, but yeah. So to get started, I'm gonna pull your house. So spirit, we blessing. What themes are most significant? Ooh, got a mix. Oh, got third house, short trips. Nope, and I won't hurt your eyes doing that. You got four actually. Saying that fourth house, property. Okay. Third house, communication. 12th house, endings. So immediately what I'm getting here is um some of you might be moving, and it might not be like super far from where you are currently, but it feels like some of you are going to be buying a house, buying a apartment, a condo, a flat, whatever you want to call it, or moving someplace. Um, that's what I'm getting initially. So now let's pull your tarot. Spirit, what are one blessing for group number 3? Okay. Switch side. Raise forward. the second blessing for group number 3? What is the third blessing for group number 3? All right. So I just want to comment on how your deck shuffled. So compared to your other groups, your cards took a lot longer to come out, like especially getting what your first blessing was. And then all of a sudden a burst of cards came out. And then I like things sped up as I asked for the number of blessings. So what I'm getting from this is that these are probably going to come in towards the latter half of the 12-month period from whatever you're watching. And it feels kind of sequential, right? Like if they're all coming out very quickly, then I can't really tell like, oh, which one. So it kind of feels like this will happen first, and this will kind of be the catalyst for the other two blessings that are coming in. So for your first blessing, you've got the Lovers and the Three of Pentacles in reverse, got the Hermit in reverse, and then you've got did no idea when that happened. Then you've got the Four of Cups, the Knight of Swords, and the Chariot. So I'm gonna do things a little bit out of order. Got here. I should have done that for the other piles. That was kind of fun. Got Libra season. Got Gemini season. And we've got Scorpio season. Funnily enough, for most of the piles, they've gotten like two zodiac seasons that aren't too far off from each other. So the period between Libra and Scorpio season, which if you happen to watch this in January or at the time that this is posted, then you know that would be like a year from now. So that tracks. Or Gemini season. And we've got the repeating sevens with the Chariot and Gemini and Libra. Sorry. The Chariot is Cancer energy though. And then the Hermit is Virgo energy. And then we've got two threes actually. I didn't notice that. So you've got the third house communication and the third house short trips. So really like emphasis on third house vibes. And I'd say as well, like look, you could also be in a third house solar return year. So that I can't do that off the top of my head right now. But look at your natal chart, like your first house solar return rate is like when you're one. Um, and then it sort of like increases from there. But I'm not going to embarrass myself by trying to do that right now because it is very early in the morning where I'm at. So, like the themes, I would also say whichever sign rules your third house, if you know when your rising sign is and what time you were born, then either go to Cafe Astrology or something like that. Hold on, my battery's dying. Okay, so I had to take a break to get the battery situation sorted. Not like who's on you that, but starting off with the your blessings. So we've got the Hermit in reverse, and that's where I'm gonna start now. So with the Hermit in reverse, like it's very much giving me the Hermit's the 9 card, and we have three threes, which all add up to 9. Um, and so you're going to be going on a trip of some kind. So for some of you, this is going to be related to the move that I was talking about. It doesn't feel like it's going to be too far away. So it either will short trips, it's either going to be someplace that's not too far from where you are. So you're going to stay in the country, you might stay in the area. I was telling another group that like I live in the city and I very rarely go outside of the city that I lived in. So it could be like a visit to another part of the country that you live in, or it was short trip. It could be talking about the duration, or what I'm also getting is that sometimes, like, I have a lot of family that, like, I live in a different country to the rest of my family. So, like, I have a lot of family abroad, and when people are like, "Oh, like, you're going on vacation to this place and this place," I'm like, "No, it doesn't really feel like a vacation because I'm just gonna see family." So it feels like by a short trip, I mean, like it's going someplace that, you've been before. You've been many times, maybe you're going to see family and you haven't seen them in a while. And so that's what I'm getting as well. And it could also be that while you're in this more familiar place, that you're taking a short trip to some place that's kind of unknown. With like especially with the imagery of this person, like looking out into the great unknown, like I really feel like that's kind of like the energy that we're getting. But the third house, very, very significant for you guys. With the Four of Cups, the Knight of Swords, and the Chariot in reverse. So this feels like an ending of some sort, but it's an ending that you initiate. So in the traditional Rider Waite, you'll have this person by a tree and a cups being offered. And they're really focused on the cups in front of them. So it feels like you're saying no to something, especially with the Knight of Sword energy. You're taking information. Ooh, and it's probably why you have communication. Like you're probably getting an important communication that you did not, which gives you the piece of the puzzle that you didn't have. And it's where you take a pause, right? So it could be with a chariot of reverse, in reverse, that's what I'm getting. Like it's very much a pause energy. So it could be a number of things, right? Like it could be a saying, you know what, I am over. I Very easy example, but if I say this and it does not apply to your situation, I cannot stress this enough. Let it flow. I will get to other interpretations. Because I know I hate it when I watch tarot readings and I'm like, oh yeah, like this makes sense. And then they're like, your relationship's ending. And then it's like, what? But I want to make sure that, you feel I'm on your side. If it doesn't feel right and it doesn't sit right with you, let it go. So it could be, for example, that you maybe were planning on moving in with somebody just because we've been talking about moving for a lot. So you might have been moving in with someone and they you find out a piece of information about them. So it could be, I'm hearing this a lot, so I'm just gonna say it. It could be that you find out that they were unfaithful or cheating. It could be that you find out that they have habits that you don't like. Maybe they are really into the party scene, for example, and you knew that they like to go out. But let's say you go out with them one night and then they're totally like off the rails. They're, doing like drugs, and not to like we're actually I'm not gonna touch that, but they're doing drugs and you're like, oh, this is actually not my vibe. Or maybe you meet their friends and then you think about the types of people that would be coming around to your place and you say, actually, like, let's pause. Like, I'm with this Four of Cups. It's giving me with the Knight of Swords and the Chariot in reverse, like it's giving me the energy of like I'm actually good right where I am. And so, and this really ties into the ending energy where you say like, actually, like I'm good where I am. I don't need to take the step forward, and it's you choosing not to take that step forward. So it doesn't really feel like an ending that is. And that turns out to be a blessing because you're finding this information out before it's too late. So for others of you, it could be like a relationship or friendship. It could be that you were actually going to go on a trip with a group of friends, for example, and then you find out, you look into things and then you realize like the prices that they were telling you were just for, you thought like it was a good deal. Maybe they say it's only going to be a couple hundred dollars or whatever currency that you operate in. And so like you say like, yeah, like this is great. And then you decide to like look into tours and stuff or realize that the place that you're staying isn't near the food or where you want to go, and then you look into how much transportation will cost, and then you actually say, hold up, like I have this new information, I'm not going to do that because it's going to put me in a worse off position participating in this. So again, like this really feels like I'm good where I'm at energy. It could also be like a job offer comes in, or like you start um looking at new career opportunities, for example, and then you realize, oh, you know what? Like, I don't want to. You think you're gonna go with this new company, and then you find out maybe like a coworker that you really didn't get along with now works there, or would even become your boss, and then you decide to like pull out of that process. Same thing with like property here could be like, again, I think you guys are starting to get it, but like again, you're on this, you think you found it. And you're like, you know what, I'm good right now. Like I'm going to wait for the next big thing because it doesn't feel like if it's something that you're pursuing, it almost feels like a false start, right? Like you think you found it, and then you find out some information, and then the information that comes is coming at the most opportune time for you to just be like, let's just stop this. Let's just stop this process right now, which is great. And that's sort of what you would be doing. And that's like the most important piece of information here. So that is so that's what I'd say like the second blessing is. So this one's about getting away, getting out of your comfort zone, exploring, very adventurous. Like it's giving me Fool vibes. Like the Hermit in Reverse is giving me Fool vibes. I think those cards really do mirror each other. But and then the second blessing is around getting information so you don't put yourself in a situation that is going to be a lot more tricky or difficult to get out of. Then with your third blessing, being the lovers and the three of pentacles in reverse, I actually want to get another card here because the lovers does feel like a choice. Okay, so we've got the Ace of Cups and the Fool coming out, right? Oh. Um, so actually with the three cards, it's feeling like three options. So at some point during the next year, you're going to have very clearly three options, which is going to take you in three different directions. Um, with the Ace, and I think that makes so much sense. I'm glad I did it. Because remember when I started your reading, I said like how the cards came out, this took a very long time. And then it kind of like sort of catalyzed the second blessing and the third blessing. And it's because the lovers is really about a choice, and it's about like you're going to be towards, I'd say, like the tail end of like the year for whenever you're watching this. So like if you watch it when it's like uploaded, then I'd say like just like 3 or 4 months before the end of whenever. Actually, I'd just say like before, I'd say like about 8 to 9-ish months is when things will really start to kick off in terms of these blessings. So at that point in time, you're going to get three options, and it's going to basically be like three doors that you can walk through. I think these two blessings will still be applicable, but how they manifest will change depending on which of the three doors that you choose. So with the Ace of Cups, this definitely feels like a romantic offer in a relationship. The Three of Pentacles in reverse, feels like you're walking away from a community. So again, like an ending, so choosing to end like a relationship and investment. And it doesn't necessarily need to be, bad. Like it could be that you started a company and decided, you know what, actually it's taking too much time away from me and the stuff I want to be doing. Or it could be that you recognize it's time for you to leave an environment or a situation, um or it could just be like mutually coming together and saying like, hey, I feel like we've reached a point in our journey where, like this relationship doesn't make sense for either of us right now. And it doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with, um it doesn't need to be any animosity. It can just be like we've simply outgrown each other, and that can be with friends. And like that's often I find like friend stuff harder than romantic stuff, because you always go into friend stuff being like it's going to be me and you forever till the end of time, like ride or die, like that kind of vibe. And you're really just saying like, hey, it's like we've reached it. It may be forever, it could just be for right now, but we've just sort of like, whatever situation we're in and whatever our involvement in, like we've reached a natural conclusion for now. Like it could be a pause. It could be, for example, like let's say you are religious and would regularly go to an institution, so it feels like a relationship, um, something sort of structured, but it's an ending that, I don't want to say you didn't see coming, but it's not an ending that you would have expected. Like, right, that's why the friendship example came to me, because like we often don't think about friends. We don't enter into friendships like thinking they'll end. Like we'll enter into relationships with that sort of like mindset of knowing that there is a good chance, as much as we may not want it, but we know that there's a good chance that we like this person isn't going to be our life partner. And it's really because like statistically everybody we date just can't be. But like we think about friendships and those types of relationships in the reverse, where it's like everybody we meet could very much be my best friend and could be in my life forever or for a really long time. And then finally, with like the third door, I'm not getting too much information on it, but with the full energy here, it's about sort of starting something new, right? So this is like a love offer, or a renewal if you're already with somebody. So like a renewal, choosing to pursue that. This is like making the decision to walk away from a community. And this really feels like taking a chance on yourself and taking a chance on something that you want to do. For some of you, it could be something that you wanted to do for a really long time. For others, it could just simply be that you are just taking the chance, on something. I'm not getting a lot of information, and I think that's because it's really open ended. But yeah, so that makes a lot of sense. Like you have a choice with the lovers. You have three doors that you can walk through, and then those three doors are sort of catalyze like what this manifests as. So you've got the trip here and getting out of your comfort zone. And then we've got sort of like saying that whole energy of that you find out some piece of information, where you say, okay, what I have or whatever your situation is like really good for right now and where you sort of want it to be. I think, and I didn't do this for the other group, so don't tell them. I just want to pull. Sorry, do you have any advice? So we've got the moon and the five of swords in reverse. So I want to say with this that it's pretty much saying like don't be afraid of the unknown. Yes. I think Spirit recognizes that they didn't a lot, not a lot of very specific things came out, but saying like, don't be afraid of the unknown. Don't be like, there are a lot of hidden opportunities just behind like the door. Like, if you see this, I'm seeing this as kind of a portal. Like, there's a lot of hidden opportunities if we dare to let ourselves embark upon them. But yeah, thank you. That's all I'm seeing for you guys. Thank you so much for letting me read for you. I had so much fun doing this. So feel free to comment down below. Hopefully it resonated. Hopefully you come back and say how this happened or took place for you. But yeah, I hope to see you next time. I hope you have a good day or night, rest of the day whenever you're watching this. And yeah, thank you for letting me read for you. I have nothing else to say. All right, healthy. Bye.